I was graduating, I was signing up for colleges and just trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And then my dad, he was watching wrestling and he was like, why don't you, why don't you start training to be a diva? But he said it like jokingly. And I was like, why not?
It's time for Wrestling for the Culture, where we take a look inside to see what the wrestlers of color have been doing this week. Ladies and gentlemen, coming up on this edition of Wrestling for the Culture, I speak to Kiah Dream. She's a student at the Team Vision Dojo. She's actually won a championship as well, the rookie championship. But we talk about her career, how she got started into wrestling, why she decided to wrestle, and we also discuss her goals. So sit back and enjoy this interview with Kiah Dream. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as promised, I have the one and only Miss Kiah Dream on the line. Miss Kiah, how you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. Tired, but good. Busy.
Okay, so I appreciate you coming on this edition of Wrestling for the Culture. Taking the time out, just talk about your career a little bit, your goal, where you've been, where you're going, and some of the highlights. So first, let's start off. How long you been wrestling?
I've been training for about a year now, and I debuted when did I debut? I debuted in June, and I started with a battle royal. So, actually doing shows.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so
What was the last part? It sounded like you started fading out.
No, I was trying to say, I was trying to figure out how long I've been doing shows, but about 6 months now, but training a little bit over a year.
Okay, and what's that process been like? And I guess let me ask you first. When did you decide that this was what you wanted to do?
I decided I wanted to do this at an early age. When I used to go to the shows, I was about 8 years old, and I kind of started, just getting out of it around high school, I guess, because I don't know, high school you just start changing. But when I was graduating, I was signing up for colleges and just trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And then my dad, he was watching wrestling and he was like, why don't you start training to be a diva? But he said it like jokingly, and I was like, why not? Because I can do it. And I have been athletic, so that's when I decided I was going to actually put the action toward doing it. But I knew I wanted to do this since a very young age. It just came back to me.
Okay, so who was your favorites growing up?
Growing up, I started watching around 2008, 2010. So around that time period, my
Okay.
favorite was like Mickie James. John Cena for sure was Bay. Like, that was my favorite. Yeah, Mickie was like definitely my favorite female. I really enjoyed watching her. And the Bella twins as well. Like, I remember seeing them at a few shows. So those are kind of my favorite people.
Okay, so then you started watching, you see the Bella Twins, you started seeing John Cena and Mickie James. You said that you kind of got out of it in high school and you watched your dad. So was your dad a fan growing up? Well, while you were growing
Yeah,
up?
yeah, he actually was. He watched it since before I was born. His dad, I don't know how deep he got into wrestling because I had never met my granddad.
Mm-hmm.
But his dad was actually into wrestling as well. So, and my middle name is Medeja, which is named after Scott Steiner's manager. So it was kind of destined to be.
Oh, wow. So it's just interesting because usually parents try to persuade their children the opposite way. And I meet a lot of people and they say, when I told my parents, they didn't really support it. But it sounded like your dad kind of inadvertently pushed you to the business.
He did. And I will say that my mom actually, she's very supportive. My parents are very supportive of what I do, and I mean, basically, because my dad, I'm sure he had the dream himself, but he says because he was so short, there was just no chance, like back in those days, for short guys, which is, I mean, pretty true. But yeah, my parents are very supportive. My mom actually moved out here to Florida with me, so got a lot of support.
Okay, what part of Florida are you train in?
I'm training at Team Vision Dojo, which is near Winter Park area, but basically Orlando.
Okay, so now
hmm
you train in, and what, I guess I should say, what made you choose that one? Because obviously you did your research. What led you to Team Vision Dojo?
Well, when I was in Georgia, I was training, and it was pretty good training. I had been wanting to move and be more. I felt like there would be more opportunity if I was to go, because my dream was always WWE. Now that I'm actually in the business, I see that there's a lot more promotions, and I understand a little more that it's more than WWE. But I knew that the Performance Center was here in Orlando. And when I looked up online the different schools, Team Vision, they had a lot of good reviews. I had contacted the owner on Instagram, and we had talked a little while, but way before I moved. And then they had their first women's class at Team Vision, I think around last February. And that's when I came to visit and I tried it out for the first time. And I just really enjoyed the training. It was just really professional, and I don't know. I just felt I seen all the opportunities that were coming through, and now that I've moved, the opportunities are just endless. Like that was a very good move. Very
Yeah,
good move.
it definitely seems like Florida is a hotbed for wrestling. Not even if you just want to be a worker in the business, but also if you want to do like backstage work as well.
Oh
Now,
yeah, for sure.
did you go to college?
No, I actually graduated 2018, so I still do want to go to college, but I know a lot of people who go and they don't even know what they really want to do, and they end up not doing well, and they're thousands of dollars in debt. And I didn't want that to be me. And now that I know that what I want to do, I feel like I should focus 100% more on wrestling right now, because I can always go to college. I mean, I could be 50 and go to college, but I can't start wrestling at 30, 40. Or I mean, you can, but I'd rather go ahead and do what I can now at this age, so that by the time I am that age, it's like I'll just be like really good. I'm hoping.
No, that's true. You know, it's you already know exactly what you want to do, so it's really good that you're locked in and focused. Um, Talk about some of the your mentors and what they mean to you in the business.
um, let's see. As in like my trainers and stuff.
Yes.
Okay. They mean a lot. They definitely helped me. Some of the first trainers I had back in Georgia, Tracy and Micah Taylor, they were very Tracy, she was very good about teaching us like what she had been through as far as the women, and a lot of fun training with them. Definitely learned a lot from them, as well as Luke Gallows when I was in Georgia. And then when I got here, learned a lot from Chase and Rance, Aaron Epic. Um, I'm trying to see, Josh Woods, Evilise. I used to train more with Evilise, but it just they all mean so much in helping me get to where I am, because it's different. It's good to learn from different people, so that way, you see different styles and different points and intakes that you can learn from. So I'm very grateful to be training under the people I am training under currently, which, like I said, Team Vision, Chase and Epic, Josh Wood, they're very like good, attentive, and they all have different styles, so it's always good to just learn from that.
Yeah. Now, is there a particular, like, when you look at some promotions, you think about where you want to go, especially being early in your career, but you already know where you would like to go. There's some promotions that jump out in mind before you reach the goal of, say, a WWE or AEW or New Japan or Ring of Honor.
learning a lot about them. Like Shine Wrestling is one I've been kind of getting into and seeing. That's one I would like to work for. Um, what is it? ACW, I think, is one that looks pretty cool as far as the
Mm-hmm.
independents. I'm more so really just learning about what promotions that are good to work for and things like that. WoW, which is in LA, I think that was a pretty good promotion as well. So things like that, like I wouldn't mind working for. I'd enjoy doing things like that. But I'm pretty much just getting into all of the promotions outside of the dojo and things like that. So I'm still learning, but those are a few that I would like to get into. And like the Lucha Underground, that's actually one because now I'm really trying to learn the Lucha style and more of the high flyer type things. So that would actually be the one I would like to work with as well.
Okay. So now that
Mhm.
you what would you say have been some of your biggest challenges with training, like whether it's, filling up the bump card or timing or promos, what would you say have been some of your biggest challenges, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh yeah, all of that. Honestly, yeah, timing, the promos are not normally. I mean, I thought it would be easier for me, but it's not because to me it's just like I'm finding the right things to say, but also being myself at the same time. So, I recently started doing an acting class, which I'm hoping will help with my character and really bringing myself out and just putting myself into it. I would say that's one of my biggest challenges right now. But at first, it was everything: timing, knowing the moves, the entertainment part, getting the crowd to, well, the crowd normally does react, but just making sure everything, the memorization. I mean, it's really not supposed to be so much memorization the better you are, but at first to me it was like people were just calling a lot of things and I was like, oh my gosh, like how am I gonna remember this? But now with a little bit the experience that I have gotten, it's just a lot easier and I know what I do and I know my certain moves. So I don't have to remember everything everyone calls versus just like us going out there and just having a good time and letting it flow. I'm working on that still, but it's definitely become a lot easier. I was just telling somebody that today, like, training is actually getting a lot easier. I don't feel so, just like confused and lost. Because it's hard. I used to do jujitsu and I did kickboxing, and it's more like a reaction type environment versus with wrestling, it's a lot of entertainment, a lot of letting, making sure you're facing the camera, the hard cam, making sure things are just a certain way. So that was very hard
Okay.
for me.
Well, I definitely would, definitely encourage you to, acting class. I took one in college, and I was a broadcast journalism and TV production major. But even in broadcast, you still gotta. I ain't gonna say act because that's probably not the right word, but you're still performing. So an acting class
Mhm.
will definitely help you. Um, what would you say what would you say now that you feel good about that you have the hang of? Like when you said training is getting easier, what would you say if you had to choose one element of it that you feel like, not to say you got this, because not to sound like cocky or anything, but in order just to say like, yeah, I feel good about it.
Well, let's see, what's one thing? My confidence is something I'm starting to feel better about, and just, instead of stressing so much about matches, I guess, or just being in training, like I'm just gonna go ahead and, do the best I can and, put the work in for it. Because I'm honestly never satisfied. Like I feel like that's how I keep pushing. That's how I'm gonna get better. I am really hard on myself, but in a way I'm glad I am because there shouldn't be a point, especially right now, where I feel like, oh yeah, I'm just like great at all of this. Like it should be hard. It should be challenging. So, but yeah, I just feel like in a sense, like kind of like a little light bulb went off, as in it's making more sense to me versus like, oh my god, what do I do? I'm kind of just getting more comfortable being in this environment and being around, not feeling so uncomfortable doing certain things.
Now, who are some of your favorites to watch now, especially as have a different eye for the business and a different understanding of business? Who are some of your favorites to watch?
Some of my favorites now, I do like to watch a lot of like Sasha Banks as far as like WWE goes, but just Gail Kim, actually, I really like enjoy watching her stuff with the TNA, or it's not called that anymore, it's called Impact. But some of her stuff on Impact, I really enjoy watching her. I'm trying to think. I don't know why my mind went blank as soon as you asked that question, but that is pretty much who I like. I like watching Ricochet because that's the kind of style that I'm aiming for. So things like that, things that I want to be like, I think, or people that I want to be like. That's what I like to watch. So right now, I'm kind of getting more into like the lucha style. So watching Ricochet when he was like Puma on Lucha Underground and things like that.
Now, do you watch a lot
Yeah,
of the documentaries?
I do. I was watching a lot of them on the network. What's the documentary? I don't actually know the name of it, but there was one. It was really funny. I can't remember the name of the lady because it was like so long ago.
Mm-hmm.
But it was there like how she would intentionally like hurt the wrestler. It's not funny, but it's just the way they explain it. Like she was like a big woman and she would just like hurt the other wrestlers. Because like anybody that came in, like she was taking them out. I can't recall her name right now though. But I read a lot of books.
Was the Fabulous Moolah?
Yes, that's who it was. Oh my gosh, that was so funny to me. I don't know why it's funny. It's not, but it is. That's exactly who it was.
Yeah, well, that's definitely good that you do that. With any business, I tell anybody you gotta learn the history, and it helps. Wrestlers 20 years ago didn't have the same access. They had to spend a lot of money. We essentially have the network, so you can go on the WWE network or even YouTube and just watch pretty much any and everything. Social media is also a powerful tool. That's how obviously I was able to find you, you know what I mean? So
Oh yeah, it's definitely a lot to do, and that's why I like to read a lot of books as well. I mean, I do watch. I watch a lot of it too on YouTube more so than anything. But I've read Tom Pritchard's book, like the 1 year curriculum, which is like it's a more of a do book versus when you just sit down and read it. But that's a good one. I've been getting to. I go to the library to try to see Chris Jericho's "No" is a 4-letter word. Is one I kind of got into, but I did have to take it back to the library, so I had to go back and get it so I can finish reading it.
Okay. So now, before I let you go, I have to ask you this question. What's your dream WrestleMania match? Or I should say your dream WrestleMania opponent.
Oh, okay. I was about to say with me or someone else.
Yeah.
Let's see. Who would be my dream opponent right now? I'm thinking honestly me and Mickie James. I know she doesn't really wrestle much anymore, but she was like my favorite person growing up, and she still is one of my favorites. So if it was me and her, I would be really happy about that.
Hey man, I feel like she's I don't think that I don't think the WWE realized how much of a hero Mickie James is, because I meet a lot of young women's wrestlers, and they will say the same thing that their favorite is Mickie James. Um, it's hard to find somebody who doesn't like her. You know what I mean? So I don't really think they
Mhm.
realize like how essentially how great she is. I mean, yeah, and granted because she was always in the shadows of Trish Stratus and Lita, but it's like, man, Mickey Mickey is one of the goats.
She really is. Like, I admire her so much growing up. I would love watching her matches. She's just like my favorite. Just like her energy, and then like she did have a different like body type as well, which I mean didn't really pay that much attention to back then. But from the other girls, they were like all really small at that time period. So
Mhm.
I just like, I don't know, she just was different. I really like her and her energy. So that would be my dream match right there.
All right. All right. Well, I know you just got through training. So, like I said, I appreciate you taking the time out to come on here and share your story and inspire the next generation. Because, believe it or not, somebody's out there watching you and they're thinking, like, man, well, she did it. I can do it. So, real quick, where can people find you?
Instagram is what I mainly use right now. It's just Kiah Dream. It's KIAH and then Dream. I'm getting more into Facebook as well as Twitter. I just need to be more active with my posting, but trying to figure it all out and it's busy with my schedule, just trying to post and make sure I get on top of that. But Instagram is mainly what I use, so definitely
Oh,
that one.
all right. Well, Kai, I definitely appreciate you taking the time. Um, so we'll catch up soon.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, hope you enjoyed that interview with Kiah Dream. Make sure you give her a follow on Twitter. So make sure you subscribe to the Wrestling Wrealm on all channels. Simply go on YouTube if you're not watching right here. Just go in there and hit the subscribe button, turn the bell notification on. We're also on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Anchor, and if you don't, and when you're done checking that out, I should say, check out my other podcast, Breaking Through the Glass Ceilings with Brian H., where I have tons of interviews with people who are either young in their careers or veterans in their careers. And I'm not talking about wrestling. I'm talking about journalism, music, and more. Till the next time, folks, I'm Brian H. Waters. So long, everybody.